New Mexico's unemployment rate inched up to 7% last month. The big losers were government employment, manufacturing, construction, and professional and business services. And we got low rankings on competitiveness in a recent study. Yet there were some silver linings in that cloud. Google acquired the Moriarty company Titan Aerospace, which makes solar-powered unmanned aircraft, and plans to grow the operations here. And it appears that the struggling economy is helping push more people towards entrepreneurial startups here in New Mexico. One of the state's primary policy organizations, Think New Mexico, is also urging lawmakers to think more broadly about economic development by luring international students studying STEM fields, and that's science, technology, engineering, and math. And Dan, you know, it's interesting. Are we finally getting to a serious point about diversifying our economy here? Have we hit a point where, go ahead.
No. But go ahead.
I thought you were going to say yes, but go ahead. That's my question. What's it going to take then?
Well, I think it's going to take this absolute reliance on government dollars is going to have to get to a point that we know it's not going to come back.
Seriously?
Yeah.
A straight cold turkey?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. We're weaning off slowly, and it's very painful. You know, I think that you look at the ability we've had in this state to take the technology from Sandia Labs or from Los Alamos to market. It's not happening here. You look at what they're doing in Boulder, Colorado. You look at what they're doing out in California. Look at what they're doing in Austin, Texas. I mean, look what they're doing in Chandler, Arizona. Everybody around us has figured out how to do this but us. And so I think this could be a step. You know, I mean, this is a step in the right direction if these guys will stay here. But I think you're going to see the same problem that I heard from my constituents when I was in the legislature. Had an airplane refurbishing company down there, and their problem was, Dan, we got 100 jobs. We've interviewed 300 people. 10 passed the drug test.
Wow.
10. We'll offer 10 a job, and after the first pay period, 4 will fail a drug test. After the second pay period, 4 more will fail a drug test. And so we have a larger problem, I think, in New Mexico, that if we don't start addressing that as well, I think you can't ignore one without the other. I just don't know if we have the workforce to handle these jobs, and I think if Google stays, it could help change that. But I think we've seen a lot of companies come in, claim they're going to do it, and then they leave or it doesn't work.
It can be a chicken and egg thing, though, Tom, can it? A workforce can rise to meet the moment.
Yeah, it can, absolutely. You know, what struck me out of the numbers that were released over the last 30 days is that while we did see a reduction in state and local, or federal and local government of about 2,600 jobs, we saw an increase in retail jobs of about 2,100. So that tells me that New Mexico residents are starting to feel that momentum come back. Of the different ideas, though, that I've been hearing, everybody is still going for the big fish to go, you know, to bring in a Tesla. And yeah, we need to go for the big fish, most definitely. Google is a huge win. But it's still the small business that operates and runs the state, and I'm still not seeing any real meaningful type of incentives to help small and local businesses. I'm not talking about the 500 employer, which is that designation from the federal level. I'm talking about the 5, 10 person companies. What is the state, what is the city, what is everybody doing to help them just to add one more job?
That's a very good point.
And so far, I'm not seeing a whole lot.
It's interesting. Santa Fe is you know, doing its thing as well, but Albuquerque is not quite where Santa Fe is at. What's different in Santa Fe for economic development at this point?
I think one of the things that's happening around this entrepreneurial culture, and I'm glad that Dan mentioned Austin, because Austin has something, I think it's called Tech Stars. It is like a startup boot camp. And Santa Fe has done that. They just wrapped up their second program. They call it the Velocity Project in Santa Fe. It gets city funding, quite a bit of it. They bring people who have already established a business in most cases, a few people who are trying to establish a business, and they go through a mentorship process and they develop a business plan. They have what they call demo day, which is where they invite people from the community to come out and learn about these new businesses. Now, that's happening on a very small scale. I think we're up to 20 businesses that have experienced that, but you hear that entrepreneurial sort of battle cry, and people are turning to that, you know, as the future. We hear that now. Is it panning out? I think people in Santa Fe are much more excited about, you know, Costco coming in and how many jobs that might be, and that they might be better jobs than at the Super Walmart across the street.
That's right. And oh, by the way, you also have the Biosciences Center that just opened in Santa Fe as well. Marie Longserre, we hope to get down here and talk about it. That's no small thing. That's more of an incubator.
The Santa Fe Business Incubator is a successful venture. It's been there for decades. People move in and out of there. You know, one of the measures of success is that you don't stay at the incubator forever. You're there, you get set up, you get to use the group copy machine, and then one day you grow up and get your own.
Right. Well, and you were part of that when that came up.
Entrepreneurship, I think, is kind of the last resort because people can't get jobs at any kind of corporate facility, and government has cut back on their jobs. So entrepreneurship is really for, and most of it is in the retail sector. It's this very small scale kind of thing started by people who couldn't get a job.
It's going to be interesting to see what the trade-off is. I think these retail jobs, you know, it's interesting to me. I keep hearing about how many jobs we're losing, but then we get jobs and it's another restaurant or it's another, and I'm not opposed to that, but who's going? If everybody else is losing a job, who's going to service those restaurants? I think it's going to be interesting to see. I'm also excited, and I got to say this, hopefully you're not opposed to this. I'm going to say it's going to be interesting what happens in Santa Fe with Javier Gonzalez as the mayor now, because Javier is a liberal Democrat who's pro-business. He's owned businesses. He gets it, and I think that he's going to really seize a moment in Santa Fe where people like that community, people from outside of this state would love to live in Santa Fe. I mean, I travel and people like Santa Fe. You could get people to relocate, and I think having a more business-friendly culture in the city of Santa Fe, the city different, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Javier can turn that into
Well, he just spent $3,000 on a brand new couch from the Design Warehouse for his office, so that's got to do something, right?
There you go. We're under 30 seconds here. I'm curious about, I love Fred Nathan's piece that was in Las Cruces Sun recently.
Yeah.
I mentioned it about the idea of getting more international students, STEM students here. And what I didn't say is the SB 10, I think the bill was that they offered last session, is to offer in-state tuition. And that's a tough throw for a lot of locals who feel like that's a perk of living here, is you get in-state tuition. Is that a viable option in your view? Because this is done in other places.
You know, yeah, other states have shown that in-state tuition works, and it could actually end up working well for the tech industry. You know, Sandia Labs has a great tech transfer program. A lot of spin-offs being created, and perhaps you know, through some of the 25,000 that are there at UNM, or those who come in, perhaps we can help to staff.
Tie them to jobs, keep them here, give them in-state tuition, have them stay here and work.
That's how it happened in North Dakota.
Don't give them licenses, though. They won't be able to drive.
There you go.
They can use the rail runner.